Good afternoon, good morning, good evening to everyone. I hope you're all well. My name is Chris Kettle, and I'm a principal scientist at the Alliance of Biodiversity International and CIAT, and I've worked for the last 20 years on restoration of degraded tropical forest landscapes and the integration of tree diversity into sustainable agricultural landscapes. And I'm really excited to introduce to you today the My Farm Trees platform, which is a new digital platform that has been developed by the Alliance of Biodiversity International and CIAT through a project supported by the Global Environment Facility, and is currently being piloted in a number of countries, primarily in Kenya and Cameroon, where the project is being implemented in 3 counties in each country with about 4,000 farmers. And we are starting to develop collaborations in many other countries to see the piloting and scaling of this tool, which, as you follow the training, I think you will appreciate its value and purpose. But primarily it's to improve the information and quality of material, particularly seed and planting material that goes into restoration, and the suitability of native tree species for specific locations, and to incentivize farmers through digital payments to grow more native trees within their forest landscapes. And the tool is a mobile phone platform that integrates a blockchain technology so that we can actually track all of the information from seed collection right the way through nurseries, through to on-farm growing trees and conserving trees within forest landscapes. And I'm really excited that you're all interested to join this training. The tool is, as we said, is in a pilot phase at the moment, so it's being trialed in 2 countries within the project, but we're there to support additional trialing, and the ambition is that this becomes embedded within many countries' strategies to improve monitoring and incentives around tree-based restoration. So with that, I'm again, thank you for your participation, and I'd like to hand over to my colleague, Dr. Anton Eitzinger. And Anton is the technical developer behind the platform, and is a digital specialist in agriculture who's worked for a number of years now within the Alliance of Biodiversity, and CIAT is based in our Cali office, but is leading a team who are doing many different forms of app development and digital technologies, not only to support research, but to support farmer interactions. And I'll leave Anton to add additional information to introduce himself. My apologies, I can't stay for the whole training, but I wish everyone a very successful training, and feel free to reach out to us if you want more information via email, or and we can follow up with additional information. Thanks.
Yes, thank you, Chris and Smita, for the introductions. I'm also happy to be here and have a big audience where we can introduce our My Farm Trees apps. So my background is, as Chris said, I'm also with the Alliance Biodiversity International and CIAT. I'm within the Climate Action Group, research group. I'm leading there a smaller group that is focusing on digital innovations for climate action. And here we are just showing a very good collaboration between Chris and our team, how we can use digital tools and also for tree restoration. And yes, I've been with the Alliance for the last 15 years, and I'm happy to be here today. So should we start right away, Smita, or do you want to also say? Okay.
Yes, please, because I think introducing 22 people would take a lot of time, and we have a very busy session, packed sessions. Yeah, let's go.
Good. So I'll start sharing my screen. Just give me a very quick confirmation when you can see it. Yep. Okay. Good. Okay. I think Chris already introduced very well about the project and the pilots that we are doing in Kenya and In Cameroon, we started actually developing the platform a little bit more than a year ago, and we are constantly still improving it. So it's not all full finished, but all what I will show you today is full finished and productive. So we just had to wait until we get the full functionality before we actually connect the blockchain. So the blockchain is not yet connected, but we have developed all the other functionalities to make it as a productive system now working in our pilots. Okay, so this is a little bit Chris and me, and then there's some more names that are relevant that are part of the core team. So we have a full stack developer, Christian Feil, he's based in Colombia as well, and Marius and Francis, they are both leading the pilots in Cameroon and Kenya. Okay, so what is very important? So what did we want to cover with our platform? So what is actually all the information that we wanted to collect and to trace all the process from starting from the seed collection. So this may be different to some other tree planting tools. So we really start from collecting the seeds because we think it's very important to have this information from the beginning. So we wanted to know what native species and where they are collected. So this is helping us later for doing more analysis about seed quality and other similar activities. So we start from the seed collection. So we collect all the information from the location where the seed is collected. We transfer this collection to the nursery. In the nursery, so the seeds are received, registered, and then we start there also monitoring or tracing how they are grown in the nursery until they get ready to be transferred to a farm or handed over to a farmer. So we basically cover here the whole process. And then the seedling finally, as a already small grown tree, gets transferred to a farm. So we also then geolocate where it's planted, and we collect also some more characteristics at the farm level that are relevant for us. So we want to really understand which seeds are under which environment then do well. And finally, we are implementing also a verification and monitoring steps. So we want to follow up in certain time steps, like could be 6 months, could be every year, that we follow up and check if the tree is still there and what's the condition of the tree. And then we trigger or we relate this verification to a payout to the farmer. So for taking care of the tree, we can create a payout system that we then pay out through a mobile payment system that is within the country. So we have set up the first now for Kenya. So that's 4 big steps, as you can see, and then you can imagine it's a lot of information that you can collect on this journey. So here, what we decided is, so we develop, we separate this in 3 steps. So we cover everything that is on this that is part of the seed collection. So we do an on-site seed collection, we register the collection, and then finally we hand it over with a QR code to the nursery. The nursery gets the QR code and the seed collection, grows the seedlings, reselects plants that survive or plants that are ready to be grown or handed out to farmers, and then they hand over the grown trees with a new QR code for every tree to the farmer. Then the tree gets planted on the farm. And so we do an on-site location, and then we start this recurring verification and payout cash benefits to farmers every period. So that's in a nutshell, very quick, how we designed the platform. And maybe you can see a little bit more the different steps. It shows where we are creating. So we create the first QR code at the seed collection site. We transfer it to the nursery. The nursery also has its own QR code. And then once we have from the seeds we get the small trees, we assign a new QR code. That's the QR code number 3, and this QR code then basically will be transferred to the farm. So we can basically link everything together and really track. Once the farm is planted on the tree, we can track back which nursery was it grown and from which collection sites did it come. We can really have the full tracing of the whole process. But we also had the system is also open to register already planted trees. So because this was also a requirement that we got then from another country to say, so it's not just, we're not just bringing seedlings from nurseries to farms, we also want to register existing trees. And also there's another requirement, we also want to include other seed sources that are not coming from our own seed collection. So it's very, you can see it's very generic, so you can do, it's very flexible in terms of how you can include seed collections and how you can put this into the system. So what do we use? A little bit, very short technical platform setup. So we used an existing platform that we have developed within the Alliance during the last research fund cycle, the last 10 years, from 2010 to 2020, there was the Climate Change, Agriculture and Food Security Program. So we developed an app that is called GeoFarmer. We developed it for climate adaptation and climate smart agriculture, the so-called climate smart villages. So we developed this tool for the purpose of monitoring activities on climate change adaptation, and we modified this now. So this is also maybe the reason or the explanation why we could come up within 1 year with this app, because it's quite a lot of functionalities. So we had an existing system that we adapted for my farm trees, and we connected it also to other applications that we have within the Alliance, and we are just adding the new user interfaces, and also the mobile payment implementation is new, and the blockchain integration is also new. So this is so we are currently at the end of the second phase. So we have developed all the user interfaces that we need for collecting all this information that I just showed you. We have also implemented now the mobile, at least, well, we have implemented the mobile payment system. It needs to be, obviously, it needs to be adjusted for every country, but we have it now set up so that we can do that. And then the final phase, the third phase, would be the blockchain integration that we still need to do within the next months, so before the end of this year. Okay, how is it structured? I think this is very important so that you just understand, because we are using this for many different projects. So what we have developed here, what we use is community channels. So we set up for every purpose and for every geographic location, we set up our own community channel. And within these channels, all the people, all the users that are working on the same project are part of this community channel. So we have set up for this training today a channel that is called My Farm Trees India Training. So it's a training channel, so we can just play it up around here. And we would then, once we start with real data collection, once we use it for other projects and initiatives, we can set up then a separate channel for as many as you want, or as many as makes sense. So for example, we have a channel that is called My Farm Trees Kenya. We have one that is called My Farm Trees in Cameroon. So we have separated basically until now by countries, but it could be also by smaller units, administrative units, or it could be, so we have it not just for tree planting, we also use it for other farm activities, climate adaptation, for example. So we have this channel structure. We can set up channels as many as you want. And then we have 3 main user roles. This is also very important, because we need to kind of, we have to assign a few roles that are relevant. For example, we have a moderator role. that's basically a user that is owning the channel. So he's basically, he can edit, he can modify things like he can, he's managing the users of a channel. He's doing this, he's managing the species list for the trees. And he's also uploading content to the main channel. And he's doing basically the moderation. And he's also responsible for the payouts to farmers. So we cannot have everyone getting access to this specific functionalities. Then we have a facilitator. The facilitator is also important because we know that not all farmers have smartphones. In some countries they do, but so where we started in Cameroon, there are many farmers that don't have smartphones. So we need someone, and this is the facilitator, who helps farmers by registering and planting the trees. So the facilitator basically can do everything that the farmer can do in the name of the farmer. So he is basically helping the farmer in setting up the platform. And then also the facilitator is also the only user that can manage a farm. So we need to have a little bit control who are the nursery owners. So we cannot just and so that's why we have the facilitators are the ones that are managing the nurseries. And then the third user role is a user, a farmer, I would say. So basically he joins a community. He can, as I said, he can be registered by a facilitator, but he can also register himself. He can manage his farm on the app. He can also self-register the trees if you want to, but he can be assisted by the facilitator. And then he can also, finally, he's requesting the payout once the monitoring is successful, let's say after 6 months. So these are the three main roles. And we also have different, as I said, we have developed different user interfaces because we found it as a better approach to give the users the very specific functionalities in a separate app, because it's easier, because it's a lot of functionalities. So it's easier for the collector, for example, just focusing on seed collection. So he doesn't need to have all the functionalities that is needed on the farm. So it's just, so once he uses the My Farm Trees Collector app, so there's just very simple steps how to do a seed collection. If he uses the My Farm Trees Nursery app, the facilitator, there's just everything about the nursery. And then for the farmers, we have the My Geo Farm. So he's the one, he's just focusing on the farm. So it's just on the farm. And for the moderator, we have a web portal and dashboard where he can basically do all the configurations and set up, print the labels. I will show you later how this works. So these are basically the setup that we use. And now I will start, basically now we start, this was the introduction, and now we start with the activities for today. So I have reserved until 12, 1.5 hours more, I think, or 2 hours more. So we can do a longer session where I just show you all the functionalities, and if there's still time, we can also have some hands-on session, and you can also do some practically, and I can maybe show you on my phone, and you can also already register and do some exercises on the platform. So what will I cover today? So first is a little bit of onboarding, very simple. So downloading and installing the app and create a user account. This is the same for all the different user interfaces. And you also just need to do it, well, at least the user account, you just need to create once. You can then use it for all the others. So there's just one user management for all the different apps. We will then go into every specific app. So first we will start with the My Farm Trees Collector app. I will show you how you basically join a virtual community and then make seed collections. Then we will go to the nursery app, where I will show you how to create a nursery, register and manage seed collections, and register a tree before it gets to the farm. And then on the farm, we will create a farm and plant the tree. So this is basically the whole journey, what we have developed until now, and what we are doing in Kenya and in Cameroon, already with several hundreds planted trees within the first few months. So it's going quick, and I will, at the end, I will also show you what's the next steps. So let's start then. So as I said, the first steps, and this is the same for all 3 apps, you have to download and install the apps. You can find them in the Play Store. So we have not yet developed an iPhone version. The reason is very simple. We could do it, but we just wanted to wait once we have a full working app, productive app developed on Android, because it's easier to deploy on Android. Once we are not doing a lot of changes. Once we get to the status, we will also publish it on the iPhone store. But it will still take a few weeks or months, because we first, as I said, we first want to have it at least in a productive version. So you can search for the 3 apps in Play Store. They are called. You can just search for my GeoTree, or is it my farm tree? Maybe this is now. Yeah, it's my GeoTree, my farm tree. You should find both if you use my farm tree or my GeoTree, and then you install them on your device, so they work on all Android devices. If they are at least, I don't know, I don't have an exact version of Android you need, but it's a very old one. So it goes back a few generations of Android. So it should work on most currently existing phones in the market. And then once you have installed it, it will be on your home screen, and you can start using it. So to create a user, we have 3 options. You know this from other apps. It's very similar, so I think it's not necessary that we go into every detail here, but the easiest way is just to sign up with your Google account. And since you're using an Android phone, you have a Google account. So every Android phone needs to have a Google account. So you basically just assign with one click your Google account, and you log in with your Google account into the My Farm Trees and my GeoFarm apps. Yeah. The other option is you can use your phone number if you don't want to use your Google account, and you can also do a full setup user process where you just provide all your details. So here you can see how it works. If you do the full setup, so you need your name, you need at least you need to have a phone or an email address that you need to sign up. You need to verify your user, because so this verification can be done. If you use your phone number, you can do it by text message or WhatsApp. And if you use your email address, then you will get the verification code sent to your email. So these are the options you have when you create a user. So that, as I said, the best option is just using the Google account. If you use your phone number, you need to add a few details, like your name, your phone number, and you need to add a password which you don't need if you use a Google account, because it's using a Google password. And then you confirm your phone number or your email to be a verified user. This is just to avoid to have AI users and other stuff on our platform. Good. Also important, once you started the first time, we will request a few permissions from you. So there I would say all three are crucial or very important for the so that the app can function well. So we need the location permission. As you said at the beginning, we are registering locations of seed collections, locations of planted trees and so on. So without the location, you would need to do it all the time manually on a map, which is possible, but it's more complicated. We want to upload pictures of the seed location and the planted trees. So we need the camera, and also we need the storage on your phone to just the storage basically is very relevant for the offline use. And you will also see every time you start the app, one of the apps, you will see that there will be a few seconds of synchronization, and this is basically important for offline use because it's very important to have offline functionality. So all the app is working in offline when you don't have internet with the data that are synced to your phone. So if the data are not synced, it would not work offline. So just leave it syncing a few seconds. Normally it's showing you also a number, how much is missing to sync. So it's counting basically down, and once everything is synced, it says all data is up to date, and you just close the window by OK, and you can use it offline. The only limitations in the offline use that we have, so we are using maps from OpenStreetMap and from other public available map servers, and we cannot synchronize them offline because we could, but it's first of all, it's a lot of data that we would need to sync to your phone in order to have the maps offline. And this would be we tested it, and it was a big challenge because it's sometimes our users, they have not a very, very fast internet connection, so it takes a lot of time to syncing, and then it's. So the only limitation in the offline use is that you would not see the maps, but still the location works because your GPS on your phone works without maps. Okay. And then finally, what is also the same in all three apps is that you need once to join a community because without being a part of a community, you cannot use the full functionalities of the apps. So in our case, what we are using, if you have already installed the app or if you will do it later, we are using the My Farm Trees India training community, which you can find when you just click on Find Community in my area, and it will, based on your GPS location where you are, it will show you a list of channels that are available, and it will show you the closest or the nearest channel. It will show you first. So if you're in India, you may see some other channels that we have in India for climate smart villages, but you should also find very quick the My Farm Trees India training channel, and you click on the channel, and you just click on join, and then you confirm that you are joining the My Farm Trees. Here it says My Farm Trees Sandbox channel, but it's the India training channel in our case. And then you should be in, so there's no more steps to do it, just in case you are using the My Farm Tree nursery. And as you remember, I said you need to be a facilitator for the nursery. There is an approval of the moderator required. So you will see at the beginning that it's waiting for confirmation. And once the moderator confirms it, then you will also be checked as a member of the community. So in case of the nursery, it can take a few days. It depends on your moderator. And in this channel, I will be the moderator. So if we do it today, I can approve them all very quick. And then you are part of the channel. So this is the same that basically do on all the different apps. So there's no difference because you need to join a channel. And then you have, once you are in, you have basically 3 main tabs. On the bottom, you can see there's home, community, and profile. So in the community, you have 3 categories. So one, we have a little knowledge content, wiki content space. So basically the moderator can upload content there. So I just uploaded here a quick description of my farm trees. So there can be also instructions on species. There could be everything that the moderator wants to share with the community, he can upload here. But this is one of the responsibilities of the moderator. We have a little Q&A section, so everyone can ask and also respond to questions. So this is an open Q&A section, so where everybody can ask questions about if it doesn't understand how to do the seed collection or something is not working. So this is basically a space, let's say a social media space where they can use all the participants on our channel. And then there's just a small about the channel, which is I didn't put a lot of text there, but it just says training data set for India My Farm Trees. But there could be like the description of your project or a description of the tree restoration initiative in your area. Yeah, and then the profile, it's also, I don't need to explain a lot. It's like, you know, from other apps, you can change your password here. You can log out. You can see here that you can make some configurations, like if you want the data synchronization on Wi-Fi only or also on data. How long back do you want to have it offline? So the last, by default, is the last 3 months. So we cannot, it doesn't make sense to store offline data for years because it's just filling up your phone. And it's also making the synchronization process slower. So we have a standard synchronization for 3 months. Every time you go offline, you will see the data of the last 3 months and not older. If you go online, you will always see everything. You can manually trigger here the synchronization. You can clear your storage, but be careful, because if you clear your storage, it would delete all the data that are offline and not synchronized yet. But in some cases, if the app gets really stuck, you can clear the storage here on your phone. And then we can also, so there are different ways how you use GPS tracking in Android. Some of them are take more time. So if you use a very combined triangulation that Google is offering about using the GPS location and also combining it with other data that Google has, then you can change it here. But we used one that is called performance, so it's balancing between not taking too much time for GPS for positioning, but also being accurate enough. Yeah. Yeah, and that's all that you can find here, basically. Good. I would stop here and ask if there are any questions, anything that you want me to repeat before we start with the first app. Okay. So let's go on then. So now we will look very specifically on all the functionalities of my Farm Trees collector. So as you remember, this is one of the 3 apps that we are introducing today. It's basically the first one that you would use when you do a seed collection. So we have done this we have started in Cameroon and Kenya, the seed collection with university students or people that are our partners that are part of the project and that are going to the field doing seed collection. So how does it work? So once maybe let me just go back here once. So you have the same screen as we have here at the community, and you just click on home, then you would be on the home for the My Farm Trees Collector app. And here on the home, you have all the functions. You can see it's very simple. It's just one button that you can use basically, because we wanted it to make it as simple as possible. Because when people are out in the forest collecting seeds, it's not good if they have to do a lot of manipulation on their phone. So we try to keep it as simple as possible. So basically, you start your new seed collection by clicking on Start New Seed Collection, and then we have. And then, as you can imagine, we need to start basically with assigning a QR code or assigning a new ID for this seed collection. And we have 3 options here, because this is also something that evolved over the last year, because we tried different ways. And so that one option is you scan a label that is pre-printed, and the label is printed is created by a moderator. So the moderator, so the project owner, from his web platform, he would print these labels, hand it over with a bag to the seed collectors, and then the seed collectors go out with an empty label for each bag. And once they start the seed collection, they just need to scan the QR code that is on the label, and just leave the label in the bag to avoid any mix up with other collections. So you put the label in your bag, you scan the seed collection, and then you get your unique code, and that's all. If you don't have a label because you didn't meet the moderator, or you just found by randomly a site where you want to collect seed, you can also do it manually. So you can first, if you have any technical difficulties with the scanning the QR code, you can enter the QR code manually, which is a little bit a long code, but just in case you are in the field and it's not working, the scanning, because your phone is very dirty or whatever, you can do it manually, and then you can create the code manually, which means you don't need to have a label because maybe you forgot to collect the label or to bring it with you. Then you just click on Create Code manually, and it just advises you that you should not forget to have at least an empty paper or something where you put the data on this sheet and put it into your bag, because it's just to help you to avoid a mix-up of your seed collections if you do more than one seed collection. So it advises you. So you should put on this piece of paper the idea that it will generate for you, a collection name, maybe the species, the date, your name, and maybe a village name where you're collecting it, or a location where you are. So this is just when you do it fully manually, we need to make sure that we're not mixing up the collections later. And then if you do that and you say, okay, you will get this short ID. So we have a long and short ID always. And this is now the unique ID for this seed collection manually created. So 2 options basically: you use the printed label, pre-printed, or you create the manual code in the field. Okay, that's it. So once you have a code or a unique ID for your seed collection, you can start collecting the data about your seed collection. So you already collected maybe your seeds, you put them in the bag, you have scanned the QR code, and now you fill a few data for your collection. You can see now your collection already has a QR code. So once you have this short ID, you get automatically the QR code. So later on, you can always scan the QR code from now. And now you have to go through 4 steps basically to complete the data collection. So it's once, as we saw before, you have to label the seed container, very important. You have your printed label or you have your piece of paper, and this needs to go into your container or into a bag together with your seeds. So this is the first step. Then we want to capture the GPS location where you collect the seeds. And then we are collecting some details like the species that you collected and how many seeds you are collected and so on. And then finally, you need to confirm that you delivered your seed collection to a nursery, because otherwise the seed collection would stay with you forever. So we have a final step where you say, okay, I have delivered this seed collection to a nursery. Okay, so you can see here on the right, in this case, how would it look when you have filled all the information? So it gets all from orange to green when you have when you went through all the 4 steps. So let's go now more specifically on each of these steps. So step 1 is the label seed container. You fill basically here the collection name. And you should use the same name that you put on the label or on the paper. So it can be, in my case, I just use Anton's Wienerwald collection in April. So you can just use a very simple name that you can remember. So you know, okay, this is the site where I collected it, the Wienerwald, and it was in April. So it's just to make it easier to identify it later. And then you have to assign it to a community. But if you are just in one community, it's easy, but some users would be in more than one communities. So we need to assign our collection to a community. Second step is then capture the GPS location. You can just use locate, the green button, which would just use your current GPS location. And you can see in my case, I'm here currently in Vienna, so I'm in the middle of the town. So the GPS location would actually not be my seed collection site. So you can refine the location on your map. You just click on this refine button, and then you can just drag the map, and then you can just go to the real position on the map. And as I said at the beginning, this is just working if the map, you can just see the map if you have an internet connection. This is only restriction we have on the offline use. On the offline use, we cannot show the maps currently. But yeah, if you are in the field and you don't have internet, it's also very likely that you are close to the tree where you're collecting the seeds. So it's better to do it with the locate button instead of refining on the map. So just to show you the 2 options, and then finally you save the location of where you collected your seeds with the save button. Once you have saved the location of your seed collection, then you have to capture a few details about your seed collection. So here we have the different types. So this is optional, you can add a text for your location, which would be maybe a village or district, or you can add it. But it's not mandatory, it's optional. What is mandatory is you have to select a species. We have prepared for this training channel a short list of species. It's not very long, but I will add a few more this afternoon. But we have a list of species where you select or pick a species from there. Or if you don't know, or if the species is not in the list, you can put it manually in the next field, user-defined species name. You just do that. If you don't find it in the list, you can do it. I can add the name of the species in the manual field. And for example, if you don't know what tree it is, you could just put here in the user-defined species name, you put here, I don't know, because this is then something that the nursery maybe would know and you don't know, so you can also leave it open. You put the number of seeds, because so it can be 1 or it can be 50. So you put the number of the seeds that you collect in your seed collection. So it's the same. So it's the seed collection from the same tree or from the same site. So it's also important. You can also only collect one seed type in one collection, so it doesn't make sense to mix different seed types in one collection. So we have here, so you need just to create a new collection if you have seeds from different trees or from different species, then you create a new collection. So you do, for every species, you do a different collection. And then finally, you also need, because not in all cases it's seeds, so it can also, you need to tell us what's the collection type. So it can be seeds, cuttings, layerings, scions, and wildlings. So you can select here. So by default, it's a seed, but you can also change it here and use a different type. And finally, what is also very important for later is so you upload a picture of the seed collection site and the tree and whatever can be. So if you just want to make sure that the nursery can really verify the species, then you make different pictures. You make one of the whole tree, you make one of a leaf, and so on, one of a branch. So you can make different pictures just to be more accurate about the seed collection for later. And you upload and you save your photos. And then finally, you can also add comments for the nursery. And as I said before, maybe you're not sure about the species. So you could add here a comment, I'm not sure about the species. So in the nursery, they can still correct it if they know based on your pictures what the species is. So that's all the information that you collect at this stage. So now the final step is then you maybe leave your seed collection site, you drive back to the village, and then you need to hand over your seed bag to a nursery. So we have here, you can find with this blue button on a map all the nearby nurseries within your channel. So in this case, there's just one that I created before the training. But once we get more than one nurseries here, you can then see what's the closest nursery, or you can see what's the name of the nursery. You maybe know you already decided before you get out for the seed collection which nursery you go then. So you can find here the nursery on the map. And then finally, when you hand over your seed bag to the nursery, you confirm here with the small checkbox, I have delivered the seeds to the nursery, and you save. And now the seed collection is listed in your account, and it's delivered to a nursery. So you can see in this list, on the final list, you can see the status of all your nurseries, of all your seed collections and where they are. Okay, so that's all about the seed collection app. I will also stop here and ask if there are any questions. Anything that you want me to repeat? Okay, so let's go on then to the next section where we talk about My Farm Trees Nursery. So this is the second app. As you remember, we have the My Farm Tree Collector, My Farm Tree Nurseries, and My GeoFarm, 3 apps. So this is the second one, the nursery. So the first time you start and you do what we, so it's the same. You have to, so if you already created a user in the Collector app, you can log in with the same user here, same user and password. You cannot, if you used the Google, let me go back. If you use the Google to sign in, just sign in with the Google, the same button. So you already registered. And if you used your phone number, just use the same phone number. And you log in the same way. So it's the same as we already went through here on the Collectors app. And then you also need to find your community again. So you assign your user to the same community, My Farm Trees India training, and you join the community. And then in this case, you would be a facilitator, so you need to wait until the moderator confirms or approves your facilitator role for the nursery. And once it's confirmed, you would be here. So the first screen you get this, you're here now on My Nursery, and you can create one nursery. You can create more than one nurseries, obviously, but in this case, I will show you how to create your first nursery. Okay, so it's very similar. So you will see it's not very difficult because we already went through it when we created the seed collection. So you need a name for your nursery. You can, if within your project you have an ID or unique identifier for a nursery, you can use it, but it's optional. It's not mandatory. So you can skip this step. You need to assign it again to the community, so to the My Farm Trees India training community. And then, yeah, sorry, there are some pictures. And then you finally fill. Okay. 1 second. Yeah. And then you add some more information about a contact person at the nursery. So you put here a name of the contact person and a phone number and an email address if possible for the nursery. Okay, so now you have created, and finally you also geolocate your nursery on the map. So it's the same that we did before with the seed collection site. So you locate your nursery on the map. So you can do it by using the GPS location button, or you can refine on the map the location of the nursery, and then you save. So then the nursery is created. Again, each nursery gets a unique QR code, so we can then track back all the different seed collections through which nurseries they go and which nurseries are they managed. So in the first step, when you that would be maybe the case is, so a seed collector is now coming to your nursery, and so you need to register the seed collection coming from a collector, and we have this very similar procedure that we had on the seed collection. So we have these labels. The labels are printed by the moderator, and you can use these labels. So that's are the labels that are coming in the bag, actually. So it's the labels are coming in the bag with the seed collection. So the collector is handing over the seed collection. So you just scan the QR code from the incoming seed collection, and you just get all the data that the collector already filled. Or in case he didn't use a printed QR code label, he has a piece of paper where you put all the details manually. So you could also this one, or you just find the collection in a list, and you just click on Find Collection in List, and it will show you a list that all the seed collections that are registered in this channel, in this community channel, and then based on the based on the paper sheet that comes with the collection, where hopefully the collector put at least the collection name, then so you can identify it based on this text. So I used Anton's Wienerwald collection in April, so I can then identify the collection based on the name that is written on the paper piece, which is in the bag with the seeds. So I just identified. So this is obviously, it's safer to always use the QR code and scanning the QR code. But we need to have a second option. We cannot trust that everyone can use the printed QR code labels. So that's why we are having this second option of registering the collections basically from a list. And each collection can only register once. So in case it's already registered by another nursery, you cannot register it again. So it's so these are the three options. And once you have registered the seed collection, you go through a final step. Once you have selected the seed collection from the list or from the QR code, you then just have assign this seed collection to your nursery. You select your nursery name, yeah, and then you get confirmation, the short ID again. You can check once more on your bag if it's the same number, just to be sure. You continue, and then you finalize by register seed collection to your nursery. And then if you go to my registered collections on your nursery app, you will find now the seed collection is within your registered collections in the nursery. So now the seed collection went from being just a bag, now being a registered seed collection bag in a nursery. And then now it goes through an internal process in the nursery where the seeds are reproduced and planted. So you have now at the nursery, the next steps are then once the plant is big enough to become a QR code, you basically add a plant to your collection. So you start with 0 plants. You have just one seed collection with 50 seeds, for example. And once you have plants, you can add plants to your seed collection. So you basically create then a unique QR code for every plant. So we have just one QR code for the whole seed collection, maybe 50 seeds. And once we get the single trees grown, we create a new unique QR code for every plant, which is related to the seed collection QR code. So it links them together. I will show you how that works. So once you have registered the seed collection in your nursery, so then you can see here you have the seed collection info. You can add a plant, and you have a list of how many plants have you created. In this case, it's 0 plants. And then finally, you hand out the plant to a farmer or to a facilitator, whoever gonna brings it to the farm and plants it on a farm. So you can go into the seed collection info. So that's the information that was collected by the collector, and you can check it, verify it, and change it, because you have you as a facilitator, you have, for example, if the collector was not sure about the species and he made a comment about, I'm not sure about the species, you can correct it here based on the pictures he took, or you can, well, it doesn't make sense to change the GPS location because you don't know actually, but you can change if you see like, okay, he says 50 seeds, but after counting it's just 35, you can change the number of seeds that were handed over by the collector and so on. So you can change the information here. It's a little bit of verification. We need to have this check because the collector sometimes doesn't have the full information about the information that he is collecting. So he needs basically this assistance of a qualified nursery staff to help him to make the information complete. So once you have checked and verified the seed collection info, you can then, maybe there are a few weeks in between, because then you start growing the seeds. And once you have a plant, then you attach a unique QR code to each plant, and that works very similar to what we before did on the seed collection, because then you need again a unique QR code for your plant. In this case, we have the same role for the moderator, so he can pre-print labels for you, for the nursery. So basically he's printing from the main platform, from the dashboard, he's printing hundreds of labels, QR codes that he's handing over to you, and then you just activate for each plant a new QR code from the printed labels, and you attach these printed labels then to the plant. So that's also important. So the QR code needs to stay with the plant, and you have the same two options. You can activate the QR code by scanning the QR code, but you can also enter manually the QR code, the long QR code, which is on the label. Yeah, that's it. So, and then that's how you create the new plant. So you click on continue, and you have created now a final step, register plant. So you have now created, and you can see it in the next image. On the bottom, you have seen now one plant. So you have in your seed collection, you have added one plant, which shows up here in a list. So it has a unique ID. It comes from a collection, Anton's Wienerwald collection in April. And this is the species, it's a cashew tree. And then you can click on this record, and then you can see the history of this, actually of this very young tree. So you can see what's the seed collection. Seeds were collected today on 30th of April by moderator, species is cashew, and then you can see it was registered to a nursery the same day. Well, obviously in a real scenario, it would be different dates. By another user, maybe in this case, it's also me. And then the plant was created a few weeks later. So now the plant has a unique QR code, and you get the full history of this plant from starting from the seed collection. Okay, so that's all for the nursery. That's all what you do on the nursery, because now your plant is ready to be handed over to a farm or to a facilitator who brings it to a farm, or maybe the farmer is coming to your nursery and is requesting the plant. So I will stop again here and give you another chance for questions. If not, we just go quickly through the last step, and then we do a practical session, I think. Okay. Okay, no immediate questions now. So let me go then to the final step. Basically, we are now on the third app, which is called My GeoFarm. And here is where we basically plant the tree. There are other functionalities that I will not explain today, because I think it would be too much in one session. For example, we can use it to create the farmer's fields, like the polygons of his fields. We can also create different types of productions that he's doing, maybe with other crops, maize, beans, whatever. And you can also have a team and tasks on this farm. But what is very relevant for us, we want to look at trees. So obviously what we need to do first, the same that we did in the nursery, we need to create a farm because it's not existing yet. So you create a virtual farm or a geo farm for your farmer. So if you're a facilitator, you help him to do that, but he can also do it by himself. So it's structured very similar. So you create your farm, you need a name for your farm. You can have an identifier, but it's not mandatory. You need to assign your farm to a community. In our case, it's the same My Farm Tree India training community that we are using. So you assign it to this community, and then you put a contact person. In this case, it's the farmer, his phone number, and in case he has an email address, you can also put the email address. That's optional. And then you do the same step that we did for the other two. You geolocate the location of the farm. In this case, I'm in the middle of the town. Doesn't make sense. It's not a farm, but you understand. So normally you would be in the field, and it would show the location where the farm is. You just locate or you refine a little bit on the map the exact location of your of the farm. Once the farm is created, so this was the final step, then you have, like I showed you in the first slide, you can do like create fields, productions, but here we have basically what is relevant for us today would be add a new tree. So we are planting a new tree. Then what would then be relevant is manage farm trees. And then we also have register external trees, but we would not go into that today. But this would be just the case if you register a tree that is already there. It's not a tree that is coming from our system, and so on. Okay. And as you now know already, we try to make it very similar. So it's the same when you register the tree on your farm. It's the same by scanning the QR code that is coming with the tree on a label. You scan that tree and you get the short ID just to confirm. You can see it on the label, and then you continue, and then you just need to geolocate again your tree, because it may not be on the same position where the farm is. So it's maybe a few hundred meters away from your farm. So you'll register the geolocation of your freshly planted tree, and you add some pictures. This is also very important for later, for the monitoring especially. And we also recommend to add more than one picture. So you can add one picture of the whole tree from different angles or from different distances, just to show its unique location where the tree is planted. So on this picture, we want to see the tree planted and not being in a pot in the backyard of the farmers. So we want to see it planted here. So you take a picture of the planted tree. You locate it. Yeah, you have it here again. We have it here a little bit bigger. It's the same. You add the images, and then you can add an individual name. So it's just if the farmer wants to give an individual name to his tree, he can do it here. And then you can also specify what is the intended usage of your new planted tree. So we have different options here. You can select more than one. So this is basically why the farmer is planting this tree. Good. And finally, and this is also not mandatory, it's also optional. You can already select the beneficiary. So this is then for the later, for the payouts that we can do. So you select a person. You obviously need to register this person in terms of we need name and phone number of a beneficiary, because since we are doing these payouts through mobile payment systems, we need a phone number. That's the minimum requirement that we need here. Yeah, maybe what is also, it's not here, but I think we will include, because at least we know from Kenya that it's necessary for the mobile payments. We need a farmer's ID. So for the payouts. So maybe we will include this the next version. So you define who will be the beneficiary of this planted tree. So basically, who is managing the tree, who is watering the tree, and who should be paid from the available money that is available for payout. So just to clarify, in this specific project that we are doing pilots in Cameroon and Kenya, we have a fixed amount of payouts that we can give to farmers over the next 2 years. So we will use this budget for paying out farmers for doing basically 2 types of activities. One is planting a tree. So he will get the first payout when he plants a tree. And then he will get payouts every time we are doing a monitoring and the tree is verified that it's still there and it's still alive and it's growing. So he's basically getting first a payout for planting it, and then he's getting payouts for maintaining it or for taking care of the tree. So you see, once the tree is planted, you can go into manage farm trees. And if you go into manage farm trees, you will see a list of all the trees that are planted on your farm. And for every tree, you can go into the history again. So you will see in which nursery it was created and when was it registered on my farm. And it has a unique QR code. For example, when the facilitator is coming after 6 months for the monitoring, he can just scan the QR code of your tree and he will see this history, and then he will click on monitor tree and he will then verify what is so what's the state, so that maybe in the monitoring he would say, okay, the tree, we have a fixed form for this. See if I have it here. Yeah, so he's basically monitoring the tree status. What's the maintenance and watering, add any observations, and add new images. So you would add the actual images after 6 months or after 1 year of the same tree, which basically is part of the verification. Then he submits the verification, and then it would trigger new bonus points for the beneficiary that he can then use and request a payout. So that's the full cycle of collecting seeds, growing seedling in nurseries, and plant the tree on a farm. So I know it was a lot of information now. So that's where we are right now with my farm trees. We have 3 different apps. So the next steps would be now, after the tree is planted, that we start monitoring it every 6 months or every year, whatever. It depends on the community channel. We create what we call a payout challenge. So farmers are basically, so we define what is actually an activity where we do payouts. So as I said, we're gonna create a challenge for planting trees and assigned a fixed amount of money that would be paid for planting the trees. And then we would create another challenge that we call monitoring tree status successful or something. So every time, every 6 months, when we monitor the tree and we confirm the status successfully, then this would also trigger another payout for farmers. So farmers would be paid during the project from these activities. Yeah, and also, so this could be then later could be linked to other sources of for payouts, like crowdfunding. So from our project or from our donor, we are exploring here what can be done after the project ends. What could be then having a sustainable payout scheme for maintaining the trees or for monitoring the trees. Okay. So I stop here with the presentation, but we can, I don't know, Smitha, if you want to make a quick question Q&A session before we go to a practical part, maybe.
Yeah. If anybody has any questions, please, either unmute yourself and speak up or raise your hand, and I can also call out or type a question in the chat.
Yeah,
either of the options. Yeah. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, myself, Dr. Berry from TFRA, Jabalpur, India. It was nice, but when we are downloaded this app, we are not able to create a QR code. Is there any specification? We are trying for downloading the QR code.
Yeah, maybe we just go right away to it. I can show you. You should see my phone now.
Yeah.
So as I said, so not everyone can create the QR codes. So this is basically so in a previous version, we had it that everyone could do it, but it caused a lot of confusion. So we decided the moderator, so the channel owner, is handing out the QR codes, and he's generating them on the main platform, which is the web platform. You can also go there. It's just go to GeoPharma. I put it in the chat. You just go to geopharma.org, and then you go. If you already subscribed, you go to the same channel, and here in the channel, if you are the moderator, so I'm the moderator in this case, I can go here and say manage seed collections, and I can here generate labels. So I can basically create a printed. I can say I generate 100 labels, and it will give me PDF file basically that I can send directly to the printer. So we had a lot of discussion about, okay, people are using the phones and they show, and they would not have. So they would not have a printer when they are with a mobile phone. So we decided that this is something that needs to be done by the moderator. I think it created a file somewhere. Yeah. So yeah, that's done by the moderator. But yeah, so you can become a moderator, for example, for a channel, then you can do it.
Do you think some of these questions can be clarified as we are doing the practical session, Anton?
Yes, sure.
People would probably understand better when they are doing it hands-on.
Yeah. So I will show you on my phone. So I think you can. Let's maybe start with the collector. So let me just log out.
Probably we've got to give them a few minutes to download the apps.
Yeah.
If they haven't.
Let me also go to the Play Store for you. Just I can find it here. So if you go to the Play Store. So if you search for my farm tree, it would show you the two my farm trees, nursery and collector. So if we start, if you put my GeoFarm, that would be the one that is for the farmer. Yeah. So it's already installed on my phones, but otherwise it would show you on the list. And you install it on your phone. So you let me know once you have it.
Would somebody who's installing it freshly let us know when you've installed it? Because even I have it installed on my phone. So.
I had already downloaded, installed in my mobile, but when I am going to register everything now, it is required QR code. That's why I raised this question. Okay.
Yeah, because you were ahead, so you started. Yeah. Creating a seed collection. So let me put here maybe. Yeah. So what are we going to do? I will put here the task. So you download. and install my farm trees collector. Let's start with the collector, okay? So once you have downloaded and installed it, you click on the icon, and then you would get to this screen. And here you have the three options. You can use your Google account, which is the easiest. I would recommend. So let me just show you. If I click on this, it will just connect me very quickly with my Google account. I did it before, so that's why it didn't show me a window. But in your case, it would maybe show you a quick window where you select your Google account and you confirm that's the account you want to use. The other option would be using a phone number. So you would need to put here your country and then your phone number. So it gets green when the phone number is valid. And then you use this phone number, and then you have to, in this case, you have to define a password. In the case of Google, you don't need a password because it's using a Google account. But if you use your phone number, you need to create a password. Yeah, and then in this case, I already used this phone number. I have already used, so it's not working with my phone in this case. And then the third option is if you just want to create from scratch, then you would just use okay, then you would use here down. Okay, it's login, or yeah, because I'm already a second time, so it's login. So you're getting to this one the first time you come, right? Because I already had a user, that's why it was showing me login. The case you open it the first time, it will show you register with. Then you have the two options, Google or phone number. Sure, here.
Registered through number. Registered to phone number. Already registered.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
She says she has already registered using
Okay.
phone number.
Phone number.
Okay. So I can show you here. So this is the web platform for the moderator. So you can see here, I can go here and I can see basically who is joining. So all your names are showing up here. Yeah. So you can see the users that were just created.
Yeah,
you can.
Mukul and Akash Shukla here.
Cool, yeah.
Yeah, these are my students.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, already.
So these users are all joining as normal users, yeah?
Yeah.
You can see here there's one user, it's also on my name, which is a facilitator. This one would be required for the nursery app. And then there's also one which is called moderator. This is also me. So we have one moderator and one facilitator, and the other ones are users. And actually, I as a moderator, and I can go and say, I can give them different roles. I can make Smitha a moderator. Okay. She subscribed as a user, but I made her a moderator. So she can also now go in here and manage the user roles. Okay, so let me also log in and talk then here. So if you created your user, so I will log in here with my moderator user I have. Yeah, then you can see here it's syncing data. That's what I told you in the presentation. So
Yeah.
every time you log in, it will synchronize data, which means after it's saying all data is up to date and okay, you have the latest data downloaded and you can go offline, you can use it offline, which is very useful if you are in the field and you have low internet connection, whatever. But important is you would need to log in to the app before you go to the field. Yeah, because you could use it for different users on the same phone. So once you are logged in and you do not log out, if you close the app, you're not logging out. You can close it, but you should not log out. As long as you are logged in, it will maintain the synchronized data for you offline. So you can see here now we have opened the app, and now we need to find the community in my area. So if I click on this green button, it will make me a list of either channels that I already subscribed. In my case, you will see I already subscribed, but it's also then showing me a list of other channels based on geographical proximity. So it's showing me a channel in Zambia and then one in Pakistan and then one in West Africa. Then here there's the Cameroon channel that I mentioned from our pilot in Cameroon. And then we have more pilots. We have all the channels from the region. But in your case, if you are in India, you should see that a list of channels that are closest to you, which would be mostly channels from India. And then you just search for the My Farm Trees India training. You could also use here search list, and then it will show you just, yeah. So you go into your channel and yeah, and now you are in it. It will tell you are, but in this case, I am already signed into this channel. So let me use a different one. If you go here, now this is also a bad example. I need one that I'm not assigned to. It's this one. No, this is also. Yeah, anyhow, you should see that the one that I showed, you should click on join, and then once you click on join, then you are here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I reached here.
And here you can see you are basically on the community tab here, and you can see here we have the moderator can upload information for you here. Yeah. So I've just uploaded one example, but the moderator here again, he can say I'm uploading a showcase, and I will upload text, an image, a map, whatever he wants. He can share with the community as a moderator, and this will show up for everyone here in the app. You have the QR section. It's currently empty because nobody added. You can add a question here. You can ask a question to the community, and everyone can respond to you, or it can be the moderator or whoever. And then you have some information. So this is all that you had at the community. So if you go now to home, you will see now that you are at the main in the home area of My Farm Trees Collector.
Yeah. Here
Here
it required QR code.
No, you can do it without. I will show you. You can do it without QR code. If you click here, then it will ask you for the QR code. Yeah. Yeah. And I can show you also here. I can seed collections. I can have here. I can create here a few QR codes just to show you. So I have here a few QR codes. So I can use my phone and basically scan one of these QR codes. Yeah. And now I get the number. If you want, you can also scan from the screen one of these codes.
Yeah.
It should work. Yeah, then you would get the number. So the moderator prints the labels and hands it out to the people, to the collectors, or to your students, for example. And then they just go with the piece of paper and the scan whenever they are in the field.
So valid question था ना इसके बिना तो आगे नहीं.
Yeah, but that's one option. The other option, if you don't have a QR code, you can create code manually. If you click at this one, then it will give you an instruction how you should handle this to be sure that you're not producing a bag of seeds that cannot be assigned later. So it just tells you, okay, take a piece of paper, put the following data onto your paper and put it in the bag. And that's the same data that you put in the app. So I will use this one and say, okay, so it gives me a different number, short ID, and I say continue. And now I need to put the same collection name that I put on the piece of paper. Just something you can remember. You need to assign it to your community. We have just one community in our case, but it needs to be confirmed. Yeah, you tell me when I'm too fast. Okay, you save this new seed collection, and now we get to this screen where you can see we have already filled in the label seed container. So we already have the seed container labeled. So we have this piece of paper with the name and the unique ID. And now we can fill the missing steps that are in orange. So the next step would be capturing the GPS location. And you can see my GPS is still locating me here in my office. But you can click on Refine on Map, and then you would be able to just modify manually where you are collecting the seeds. Yeah. Then this new location will be stored. You click on Save, and now you have finished the second step, the GPS location for your seed collection. Yeah. Now you go to the next orange missing part. Here you need to put some detailed information about the collection. So you can fill here a name or not. You have to select the species, and you see if you click on select species, it will give you a list. This is a list that I prepared yesterday. I got it from Smissa, but obviously it needs to be longer, but you can pick here as a species. We can also, we have not in the database, we have not yet assigned an individual picture for every species. Could be done. So you pick one of these species, and you can use the next field in case you don't know. So then you can put here, or let's say if you cannot find your species in the list, you can put it manually here. And then you put the number of seeds. Here it's just to make sure that it's actually seeds and not cuttings. So we leave it to seeds. And then you add a few pictures. So you take the pictures with your phone, or if you have already taken them, you can also load them. So I have no tree close to me, so I can just use any picture. And you do more than one pictures because it makes it's better to have more data. And then you can also make comments that would be relevant for you or for the nursery later. No? If, you can maybe here say verify species with expert later or something. Yeah. So now you can see we have finished we have the container, we have the GPS location, we have also captured all the details So now there's just one missing step, the last step, and maybe I cannot do that immediately because I'm in the field. So, but I click on it and it would tell me, okay, you can search for a nearby nursery. And you can see now we have already 4 nurseries. When we did before it was just 1. So some of you already created nurseries. So we can now decide, okay, I would like to go to this nursery here. And I can even, but maybe that's not working in many parts, but I could even use.
Yeah, this is our
Yeah, we could use the Google Maps to give us a route, and you can see doesn't make a lot of sense what we just got, but so it's basically showing me how I can get in 69 days and 10 hours to your nursery. Okay, so
yeah.
And then basically it's a manual final step is then I say, okay, now I'm handing it over to the nursery, and then I say save, and then for me it's all done. No? But I can only do that if I'm actually have decided to which nursery I will bring it, and I go there, and then so let's not do it for now. Let's just go out. So you will see if you see, I have 2 collections, the one that I showed in the presentation, which is already checked in green because I delivered it to a nursery. And I have this new collection that I can again open it here, and it's not yet delivered. So there's still in orange. So I can leave this until I go to the nursery, and when I am at the nursery, I will open it again, and I will say, okay, now I'm delivering. And now it's basically, it's ready for me. Yeah. And what else can we see here? Not much. You can all, as I said, it's just limited to the functionalities that a seed collector needs, because obviously we have so if you are in the forest collecting seeds, it doesn't make sense to have a lot of functionalities there. So sometimes you have a lot of limitations. So we can, and you always get an overview of the collection sites. That's telling me I have 2 collection sites here. See if we can also see the others. Yeah, and we can see here, I can also see the collection sites of the others. So I can actually see where are people collecting seeds. I always get the list of the nearby nurseries and my seed collections, and I can always start with 1 click. If I have a label, I can always start with 1 click scanning a QR code. So that's all the functionality I have on my FarmTrees collector. Comments, questions?
Thank you so much.
Were you able to do it?
Yeah, we successfully registered. Thank you so much. It was nice.
Yeah. So now,
Anton, there's a question in the chat.
Yeah. Okay.
Vishwadev, he asks how to deselect a tree species if need to remove and add manually. I think you have. No, I think you have a list of species already in there. So if you don't choose one from them and you use the next, the below, then if you use the next option and you fill it manually, it still shows as orange. Shows as incomplete, I think.
Let me check. That's not here. It shows as incomplete. Because I already I cannot deselect it. You are right. Yeah, you are right. It's maybe something we need to change. Let me see if I can. No, I cannot. I cannot deselect. You're right. No. Yeah, that's maybe something we need to change. So what the question is, if I realize later that I need to deselect my selected species and just put the manual one, then okay. Yeah, I gotta look at it. This is something maybe that we need to modify. Okay, thank you. Should we make a few minutes break before we go to the next app, or?
We could take a 5-minute break.
That's
Yeah.
good.
We'll be back in 5 minutes. Okay.
Okay. See you in a few minutes. So I am ready whenever you want to continue.
We could wait for 2 minutes more, maybe.
Mhm.
Probably I should have told 10 minutes.
It's fine.
And then once you finally save this information on seed collection, can you go back and edit the sheet, or you cannot? You're muted.
Yeah. Yes, you can.
Yeah.
You can.
Okay.
Yeah, you can edit, and the nursery, in the nursery they can also edit.
Okay. Oh yeah, you can. Did we start?
Yes. Can I share my screen again? Okay. Now I opened the nursery app. Yeah. So here my farm tree nursery. So we can go quickly over this because now it's basically you're logging in with the same user that you just created for the other app. So if you're logged in with your Google account, you just click again on the blue Google button. I will use the same user I used before. And you see it's syncing. Maybe in your case it's faster because you're starting it new. And we need to get to our community. So I find my community again. It's showing me the subscribed community. So I click on this one, and it's the same. We have the community channel is always the same. So we have the options to get to the content at the wiki site. We have the Q&A section, and we have about the channel section. So it's the same. But here now, if we go on the home, it's called here my nursery. And in this case, I already created a nursery, so it's obviously maybe you're seeing the first time you're seeing a different picture where it tells you create a nursery. And when you create your first nursery, you will get to this first screen, the same that I have here. So you put the unique name For your nursery, in this case, I will go Anton's second nursery. I don't have an identifier. I could add an image here if I want for my nursery. Let's just use something like this. Nursery image. I need to assign my nursery to the community. And it's asking me for a contact person, so I put here my contacts. So now I have created a second nursery or a new nursery. And if it's just showing me my own nurseries here, not the others. So I'm selecting my nursery here. Oh, sorry, I went too fast because we didn't. It was here. Okay, I went too fast. I forgot to show you. You also need to put the geolocation of your nursery. So again, it's using my office location, but I can change the location. At least say my nursery is here in this park. And yeah, and that's all. So now I'm on my new nursery. You can see here in my nursery, I can manually create the collection. So in the case that a farmer or someone is just coming with a bag of seeds, and I can create from scratch here a seed collection. Yeah. So the seed collection, for example, the seed collection is coming from a partner or not someone that is using our seed collector app. You can still register here the seed collection. Let's do that. Wow. And you get them to the same. But maybe let's go back and let's use an existing one. It's maybe better. So I will register as a collection that was delivered by a seed collector. I will just use the same collection that I just created with the collector app. No, I don't have the QR code here because I would need to scan it from my own phone, which is a little bit, maybe I can see it here. Should be here. Anton's new collection, it's this one. But I'm not getting the QR code here. Okay, doesn't matter. Normally the QR code would be on the label on the seed bag, or I could at least get it from the collector's phone. But in this case, I will use find the collection on a list, and you can see here there are already quite some collections from you. So it's not, but I can still identify at least my collection. I'm looking for Anton's collection. And we have here Anton's new collection in training. So that's just the one that I created before. And you can also see the other one that we registered during the training before is not, I cannot register it again. So I have just one option for Anton's collections, the one that I collected before. So I select this one, and now I start registering the seed collection. And I click here on register seed collection. And here I say, okay, I'm registering this seed collection to Anton's second nursery, the one I just created. It shows me the unique code for the seed collection. I confirm this, and then I just final step register seed collection. So now I have the seed collection registered to to Anton's second nursery, and now I can look at the seed collection info, one that we just created before. So I can still go here and say, okay, he was not right on the species. It's actually a cashew. So I can change the species. Save this. And now after a few weeks, I would come back. No, I would maybe see here what are my register collections. So after a few weeks, I would come back and I would register this. I would open my seed collection. I would say now I will create a plant. In this case, I would need from the moderator again a unique label for my trees. So he can create these labels here. And print them, and I could here scan the QR code of this tree. Look what happened now. I think it's maybe it crashed. No, it did not crash. Yeah, it crashed. Let me go back to my nursery. We see if it crashes again. Okay, it's already, this one is already used. So you can see I can only use only use it once. Yeah, so now I have I got a new QR code from my labels. So I would need to use this, and so it's registered now. And I would need to connect this label with my plant that I just registered for this label. We are still also looking for options, how this is the best way, how you can have a permanent QR code on a tree. There are different options. We don't know yet what's. So if there are any suggestions from your side, if you know anything, any solutions, technical solutions that are very, very practical for labeling trees permanently, is a QR code. So we were thinking of a plastic plate or a metal plate, or because of paper, you have the challenge that it's not lasting very long. So we are still thinking, we're still exploring what options are there for labeling a tree with the QR code for a longer time frame. So you can see now on my collection, I have added one plant, and so it's below, I have one plant. So I say, okay, this plant should show up here. Isn't it not doing it? Okay, I need to continue. I think I did not finish what I started. Let me do it again. Again. Here it crashes. Sorry for that. Okay. I'm confused now. Okay, now I got it. So it's here. So now I've created a unique code for my plant that is coming from this collection Wienwald. Let me just check the other one. It's nursery. Okay. Good. So I think that's all that we do here in the nursery app. So we have created a plant, and the plant now is, well, that's a bad example because it's already registered on a farm. Let me go back to the other nursery, this one. So this plant now is ready to be handed over to a farmer. Let me add another plant maybe. This time I will do it manually. So now I need to select the code that nobody wants. Scan it again, it's faster. Okay, so now I have 2 plants. So out of my seed collection that initially started with 25 seeds, I could successfully create 2 plants, the same species. And these 2 plants are ready now to be registered on a farm. Are there any questions here? We have still one more app that we look at. We'll log out maybe so you can see. My GeoFarm. So it's the same, you are logging in, I'm logging in again, this is my same user, you can use your Google account again. So it's syncing as always. I have to assign it to my community. And once it's assigned to my community, I can, I have already created this farm in the morning, but I can create another farm. So you can see it's very similar what we just did for the nursery. We create a farm by giving it a farm name. You can call it also second farm. I assign it to my community. It's not assigned. Okay. And I put my name. And I need to locate it. So again, it would be, maybe we refine it a bit. Let's use here inside this box. Anton's second farm. So I have 2 farms for the same user now. Here you can see what I mentioned. You have some other functionalities that we didn't look at it today, but you can, for example, you can create fields. Just quick to show you, you can just say, okay, this is my farm. And here I'm gonna create. Oops, didn't work. We can just create a field. So back here. But what is relevant for us is these two or these three: manage farm trees, add new tree, and register external trees. So in this case, we just got this seedling from the nursery, and we want to plant it on our farm. So we would say add a new tree to my farm. And again, here I need the QR code from my farm tree. If I'm right, it should be this one. Yeah, and it crashes again. Yeah. So I need to select the location of where I plant my tree. I would add pictures. Now I'm running out of pictures here. I add some details like what's the intended use of my tree. And then I would, in this case, I would not add beneficiary for now. So if I now go to manage farm trees, I have one tree here that I just registered. And I can click on this tree and I would see where it's coming from. Registered on farm, and it's coming from Anton Second Nursery. If I now go to the nursery, I would see here. I would see that one of these two farms was now, of these trees, was now registered on a farm. So I can, even in the nursery app, I can track actually the full process. So the seeds were collected, cashew seeds were collected on this date, on this site. It was registered to my nursery. There was a plant created, and then it was planted or registered on a farm. All the same day, which doesn't make sense, but in the real scenario, it would be the timeline of the full process. And I have this tree now, and so on. Like after 6 months, when I start the monitoring, I would get a next entry here saying tree monitored successfully by. So we would get another date, another user, and yes, good. So I think this was the practical part. I don't know if there are any immediate question or if we should do a more general discussion session maybe to finalize or questions.
Anybody has any questions?
I know it was a lot. So you can also later your questions. You can either channel it through Smitha, or you can also send us directly an email. I will share the last slide so you can see the. You can see here my email address. But I think the best way is just we go through Smisa. No?
Either they should have your email ID through the invite already if they need it.
So the next steps, as Chris mentioned at the beginning, so we are still in the piloting phase. So we're doing now for more than a year pilots in Cameroon, Kenya. We have started recently more pilots in other countries in Africa. We are starting also very soon in Asia and South Asia. Not in Southeast Asia. So today we are in South Asia, but we have also some starting pilots in Laos, in Vietnam, and I think also in Malaysia. So there are pilots coming. So everyone is invited. So we are in the piloting phase. So we are welcoming your inputs or your comments, your ideas to improve it or to make it stronger. And as Chris also said, currently a research project, but we are looking actually how we can then scale it and then make it as a productive environment for tree restoration globally, which would be the ultimate goal. And yes, so any questions, comments, critics? I think you're muted.
Yeah, all are very quiet.
Yeah, it's long. I know we did like more than 2 hours now. That's very long for training. But we wanted to have like the full process covered today so that you really get an idea of what is possible. So now we can, yeah.
Demo is clear, so there is no confusion right now.
Okay, so very good. So for the next steps would be, we can, if they are interested, we can create more channels. Also, we can, if like say for a specific state in India or if a specific region you want to do a separated channel, we can do that. We just need some very few details. Smisa already knows what we need. So the biggest challenge we are currently facing is a little bit the species, because it's quite a huge list of species globally. So we need to find a way how we can put the same species in different countries. So you have different languages. It's getting very complex with the species lists, but we try to deal with that. So you would have an individual species list for your channel. And yeah, as you say, you can have an individual picture, channel name, and some other. And then you can get a moderator role. And then you can basically do everything yourself. So you don't need us then anymore. We are currently in the pilot phase. So we have a little bit limitations in terms of capacity. So as long as it's not getting into 100,000 of participants very quick, so we can do it within the pilot. But if it grows, we need to check with Chris how we manage the hardware resources for it. Yeah, but for now we are open for pilots. So just reach out to us. We are ready. Any final words from you, Smisa?
I would probably share the format in which the species list has to be shared if anybody is interested in having their own channel for monitoring. But other than that, if there are no questions as of now, I think we should close the session because it's already quite a long session. And if anybody has any follow-up questions, you can either write to me or also write to Anton directly if you would prefer that. His email ID should also be there in the invite that we sent. So yeah, but I'm happy to coordinate if there are any questions that you want to pass on to Anton. I'm happy to do that as well.
Okay, thank you all for joining today.
Yeah, thanks for joining. Bye bye, everybody.